So, the Upanishad has total 18 mantras. Today we are starting with introduction. So there are how many total Upanishads? Gopal Prabhu? 18. Huh? 18. No. Do you know how many Upanishads are there? Ajit Govind Prabhu?
Oh, 3?
No.
18 or something? No, that's Puranas.
18 are Puranas.
18 Puranas are there.
How many Upanishads?
4, I think. 4 or 5.
No. How many total Upanishads are there in totality? Hmm. 108. Very good. And among them there are some principal Upanishads. How many are like? How many of them are there like that? Principal Upanishads. Yes.
16.
You know.
13?
No. 10. 10 principal Upanishads. So, Ishopanishad is one among them actually. And this is one of the book which Upanishads, which Prabhupada gave the purport. So, very important. Among all the Upanishads, this is the Upanishad Prabhupada chose. And he gave. Some of them are also the Taittiriya Upanishad, Kena Upanishad, Brihad Aranya Upanishad. So, like that, the Prabhupada quotes extensively in his purports also. From different Upanishads to see. Prabhupada quotes it. So, Shesha Upanishad is one Prabhupada gave even purport as well. So I'll just share with you some information about this Upanishad, and then we can begin. Can you give me that table so that I can keep it here? You always talk about leaving.
Yesterday I did not talk about it. It was Wednesday.
Before coming on, they start on.
Oh, I don't go.
Open it, open it. Get to the camera. No, this one. Yeah, so what is Upanishad? Upanishad means Upa. Upa means near. Ni means down. Shad means to sit. To sit down, to sit near. Or to sit near the or sit near a spiritual teacher to learn. Upanishads will learn by sitting near to spiritual teacher. So Upanishad, sitting here. What is the meaning of Upavas? So Upanishad can write in Upa means near, Ni means down, Shad means to sit. Upa means near. Ni means down, Shad means to sit. Sit down near a spiritual master is Upanishad. Sit near a spiritual master to learn Upanishad. That's all. So Vedas, they Shad means to sit. So Vedas, the hymns chanted by priests in praise of gods. So there are 4. Actually, originally there was 1 Veda. Then they divided into 4. So Rig, Yajur, Sam, Athar. And Vedas are coming from the Lord only. Vedas are given by Lord directly. And further it was expanded. So, but Vedas talk about spiritual things, but it also talks a lot of mundane things also. Many mundane things are also talked, like metallurgy, so many things that Vedas will talk about. But Vedas also have the instructions about perfecting one's life as well. Spiritual things also. Both things are there. So you see here, the Rig Veda talks about one of the things is praise of Agni, Indra, Yajur Veda instructions for performing sacrifice. Sama, praise of Soma. Soma is sun god. sorry, moon god. Atharva chants for hearing, sickness, and rights. So how you can get rid of sickness and also those things. No? Atharva also talks about. And then you can see Vedas
So,
encourage.
Prabhu, you said Soma is moon god?
Yeah. Soma is moon god, no?
Yeah.
Soma, Chandra. Soma is moon god, no? Praise of Soma. So, clear, na? Any confusion in that? Everyone? Any confusion, Prabhu?
Okay.
You're asking something, Prabhu. I'm not able to
No, I'm
hear.
saying any confusion?
No. I was taking notes, so I didn't hear. Soma means
Okay.
moon.
Okay.
I heard Soma sun, so that's why. So
Yeah.
some hearing problem.
No, moon. Sun I told by
Okay.
moon.
Okay.
So, Vedas encourage satisfaction of material desires. No? Many times you see. So, for in getting sex life
क्या
better.
दिखा रहे हैं वो भी सेक्स इंद्रा
वो उन्होंने कुछ चालू किया है, मैं भी सुन ही रहा हूँ.
ओ बताना नहीं बाद में क्या है.
हाँ.
So, if you see, the Vedas, prescribe so many demigods for different material desires. If somebody, wants to have better sex life, so Indra, good progeny, Prajapati, fortune, Durga, power, Agni, somebody can worship, money, Vasus, body, want to have healthy body, then earth. So like that it says, so different kinds of material desires can be fulfilled through Vedas. So gradual elevation to transcendental life leads to Upanishads. So you see, it's a lot of sections of the Vedas are Karma Kanda. Karma Kanda is a lot of major sections of the Vedas. And one of the reasons why Karma Kanda is there because people are materially oriented. People are looking for a lot of fulfillment of material desires, you can see. So ultimately, the good part about, not ultimately, the good part about the Vedas is that, that they are authority. So somebody comes to the Vedas, at least they're following some authority. And, but as I said, most of the sections of the Vedas are Karma Kanda. Now, when somebody tries to get different material desires fulfilled through Vedas, then, performing different Karma Kanda and worshipping different demigods and all that, which will be given in the Vedas in so many sections. Eventually, one will be frustrated. Why one will be frustrated, Gopal Prabhu? Even after following Vedas and getting so many material desires fulfilled, still one will be frustrated. Why?
Well, because he hasn't, this is all material, this is spiritual, what's the point of all this? Is anyway going to go.
Yeah. So no matter
तो
how
ये जो
much one
sex इंद्रा वगैरह है, it is like Vedas describe. So
so he's talking about
no. Sagar Prabhu asked, what does this mean? Sex means Indra, good progeny. So I was explaining that what you mentioned.
Yeah. Basically, the Vedas prescribe for fulfillment of material desires, different demigod worship that way. Yeah. So the Vedas has all kinds of knowledge, and all kinds of benedictions are also given. When somebody wants to get different kinds of material desires, different kinds of demigods are there, different kinds of sacrifices are also mentioned. But as I said, but Krishna says, to Arjuna, that Nistragunya Bhavarjuna, Tragunya Vishya Veda. So Vedas are filled with so many different varieties of this kinds of sacrifices and rituals, which are within the modes of material nature. And they may direct the person only for fulfillment of material desires. But when somebody goes to the Vedas and he, into this Karma Kanda section of the Vedas, eventually he will have to get frustrated. Why? Because no matter how much material desires one tries to fulfill, one will not get satisfied. One will be frustrated. So that's what is going to be the experience of the person. So such a person who gets frustrated and who gets a little purified also because of following the Vedas, because somebody follows some rituals and Dekidana Tapa, when he's following certain sacrifices, then he also gets some purification. That's a good part of it. So, and that's a very slow and gradual process. So after that, one may want to inquire further. And then it leads to further section of the Vedas. No? So there are certain Jnana Kanda section of the Vedas, no? And then Upasana Kanda section of the Vedas. So gradually it leads to Upanishad. No? So Upanishad is basically where one can begin transcendental life. No? Upanishads like that. So gradual elevation to transcendental life leads to Upanishads, a chance for self-realization one gets then. So this is how slowly one can come. So that's why Upanishad is mark being of spiritual life. That's how the spiritual life begins. So many people, in the name of spiritual life, they do some yajna, dana, vrata, tapa, Somvar vrata, then Mangalvar vrata, then Shukrar vrata for different demigods. It's not a spiritual life. Because spiritual life actually begins with understanding of who is the Supreme Lord, who am I, what is my relationship with the Supreme Lord. So this is how spiritual life actually begins. Before that, people are simply living only for some fulfillment of material desires. So that kind of life where some kind of yajna tapa is there, some rituals are going on, some sacrifice is going on, that is not spiritual life. Is this clear, this point? So it says the main contribution is it establishes absolute truth as non-material. What? Upanishads. It establishes that absolute truth is non-material, and that is heavy focus on this. Heavy focus on this. Why? Because till now, before that, when they were into Karma Kanda and all that, they were so much identifying material body. That's why when you come to Upanishad is heavily emphasized upon how absolute truth is non-material. They heavily emphasize on that. So deny material personality, because now so much they are attached. Those who are Karma section and all, they are attached. They are so much attached to their own body. So deny material personality. So nirguna, arupa, but do not assert, but do assert spiritual personality. So that's why you find this kind of words are there in Vedas. They talk about absolute truth to be nirgun, arupa. But what does it mean? It means that it doesn't have any material qualities. Nirguna, material quality it doesn't have. Same way, arupa. Arupa means it does not have any kind of material form. That's why, and there are many people who get confused about this, because when they read certain section of the Vedas where it talks about nirguna and arupa, then they feel that that means God is impersonal. That is incomplete understanding. Because sometimes to make the person come out of his conception, how everything, how the person is so attached to body, so much attached to material life. So just to have him come out of that conception, then it's called absolute truth is not material. Absolute truth doesn't have this kind of material personality. Absolute truth is not at all having any kind of material qualities. That's why this words have to use nirguna, arupa. But it does not mean that it does not have any qualities. Yes, it doesn't have any qualities, meaning it doesn't have any material qualities. That is understanding. Because there are other sections of the Vedas also, and in the same Upanishad also, you talk about, there are talks about personality of Godhead also. Like in Shastri only you find. There is one verse comes later, and how it talks about that, oh Lord, please remove that dazzling effulgence coming out of your body, so that I can have the darshan of your lotus face. Like that he prays. So that shows that Upanishad is also talking about personality of God. So that's why one should not get confused, thinking that absolute truth is talked as impersonal in Upanishads. No, not at all. And why they emphasize so much this aspect, that absolute is not material, doesn't have material form, doesn't have material qualities, because people are attached to so much of this conception. So that's why, just to help them understand about the another reality which exists, that is spiritual reality. See, for most of the people, there is no spiritual reality exists only. Correct? Gross sinful people, for them, there is no question. Those who are demigod worshippers, Karma Kanda section, for them also, the spiritual reality is very, very dull. They don't have. See, they sometimes have understanding of going to heaven. So that sense, they have some understanding there is a soul. But there is hardly any inquiry about where is soul coming from, what is soul's eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord. Because so much maddened by the material desires, they don't even inquire. Though they have some sense of understanding that I am not the body, I am soul. Some sense of understanding of it. But it doesn't have any practical application of it. See, that's why there's so much, of course, modern day people, they may not even understand also heaven and all that. They just go to worship for just material benediction in this world only. So they don't even so much worry about going to heaven also. But if somebody is proper Vedic follower who understands, then at least he has understanding, okay, he may have to go to heaven. Next life he has to suffer. But then their understanding of I'm not the body, I'm soul is like, yes, I'm not the body, I'm soul, maybe there some understanding, but body is all important. What is all important? Body only is all important for them. So they don't have even proper understanding also about soul. So they have some sense of understanding because they're so mad after material pleasures. That's a reason. So like some of us also might be knowing we're not the body soul. Because I was knowing from my childhood. That we are not, we have been hearing this, no? Dhamatma. But did we have any much thing to do with that? You also you knew that you are not the body or soul. You knew that. But did we have any things to do with that? We were completely into matter life, study, become topper and all that only. So that was all our life was. Of course, there was some spirituality, but it was not an active spirituality like the way we are pursuing right now. How we are every day we are working on it. You are born devotee, Bhagwan, not you.
No, no, I mean like.
Ajit Gun also born devotee.
Yeah.
Oh, only both of us. Both of us were knowing, but we are not pursuing it.
Devotee, like when they're young, like when we're like maybe like I don't know, like for actually when we're 4, we don't even know. So
no, but you are born devotee. So you and Ajit were two exceptions, but I'm talking both of us. We had some idea about soul, body, but we were into material life only. Studies, become topper, get engineering college, and all that only. But there was some spirituality for sure, but not like actively that we were pursuing. That time there was not so clear understanding. Correct, no? Though we had some spirituality, some interest, but not that active like the way we are now. Giving up our profession and pursuing it so actively, studying, reading so much, giving no? Some of us.
you're the only one who's given
Some of us. Anyway, so here it says, so there are 3 stages of the realization of the Supreme Absolute Truth. What are the 3 stages? Who will tell? Ajit, can you tell what are the 3 stages of realization of the Absolute Truth?
This is, I'm getting confused. Brahman, and I'm not able to recollect.
Yeah, basically, Absolute Truth are realized at 3 stages, no? So, what is the complete realization of Absolute Truth and how it begins? So, Brahman is first. Then, where is the second one?
Brahman, Paramatma.
No, Brahman, Paramatma, and?
No.
Gopal?
Atma.
Not Atma. Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. No? Brahmeti, Paramatmati, Bhagavan iti shabdate. Vadanti tatvat tad vijnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmati bhagwan iti shabdate. There's a verse in Srimad Bhagavatam. So, vadanti tat vidas. If you want, you can search this. No? Vadanti tat vidas. Tad vijnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmati bhagwan iti shabdate. So, there are 3 stages of realization of the Absolute Truth. We discussed in that Gita class also other day. Sunshine example here. Sunshine, sun disk, and the inhabitants of sun planet, like that. So, like you see the mountain from distance, that's a green, go closer, and you find, okay, it's a mountain, big mountain. You get inside, then you find the trees and people like that, full realization. The same way, Absolute Truth from the distance, I mean, when somebody had not much realization, then it is like Brahman, seen as a Brahma Jyoti. But when he goes more deeper in his understanding of Absolute Truth, becomes more mature, then he understands Paramatma feature of the Lord. He is residing in everyone's heart, within every atom. And when becomes more mature in his devotional service, when he becomes more mature in his transcendental life, then he comes to the understanding of Bhagwan, Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is Akhila Samrit Murti, who is Leela Purushottam. He's performing pastimes. He can present himself in front of you and have loving pastimes also. Like how Krishna, Yashoda Maya has a relation of Krishna. Arjuna has a relation of Krishna, like that. Pandavas, Gopas, they have relation of it. So Bhagwan realization, like that. So which is the complete realization of the Absolute Truth? Bhagwan realization. And Bhagwan realization has already Paramatma aspect and Brahman aspect is already there. So he says Paramatma, Mundaka, Sweta, Kathopanishad. They are mainly talking about Paramatma realization. And it defeats Mayavad and defends Bhakti. Bhakti depends on ideally being retired. Bhakti depends on ideally being retired from all kinds of other engagements, other designations. When one is completely in one's constitutional position as part of the Supreme Personality Godhead, and he has understanding of the relationship of him with the Supreme Lord. So Bhakti means Bhagwan, Bhakta, and Bhakti. 3 things are required, correct? So he knows that I am the soul, not the body, and I am the servant of Krishna, and I have a loving relationship with Krishna. So that's Bhakti. Then he says, thus prepares for proper understanding of Bhagavan, full of opulences. So Upanishads prepare you. All these Upanishads are preparing us. Mundaka, Sveta, Kathopanishad, preparing us to understand Bhagavan aspect eventually. And Ishopanishad, importance of Shruti and Smriti. So there are 3 prasthan, the 3 prasthan. All the Vedic literatures are divided into 3 prasthans. It's called Traya Prasthan, Prasthan Traya. So what does it mean? So Shruti Prasthan means, so they are direct words of the Lord. Veda and Upanishads, they are Shruti Prasthan. And Nyaya Prasthan, that is Vedanta Sutra. That is a summary study of all the Vedas. Summary of all the Vedas. That is Nyaya Prasthan, Vedanta Sutra. The Shruti Prasthan is Veda, Upanishads, and Nyaya Prasthan is Vedanta Sutra. And Smriti Prasthan is those which are developed by the sages and the acharyas, and the great devotees. So they have developed it. So they are Smriti Prasthan, like Puranas, Itihasas, all that. Bhagavad Gita, Mahabharata, all that. So that is Smriti Prasthan. So many times Mayavadis or impersonalists, they only talk about Shruti and Nyaya Prasthana. They believe that. But they reject Shruti, Smriti Prasthana. They will not accept this Puranas and all. They say, no, that is not the part of Vedas. But actually Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself quoted from Purana, from Mahabharata, from Bhagavad Gita. So that's how we accept it. And actually all the bona fide Vaishnava Sampradaya also, they accept Smriti Prasthana also. But many impersonalists don't accept it. So, but even to them also, Srila Jiva Goswami also has, defeated Mayavad. He has established that Supreme Personality Godhead as Krishna, even to Shruti also, by Shruti Praman, Shruti Prasthana also. So there are mantras, Vedic mantras, that is part of Shruti Prasthana, which is talking about Krishna being the Supreme Personality Godhead. I can give you the full reference. There's so many like that, which talks about Krishna being the Supreme Personality Godhead, and how Lord Vishnu is the Supreme Personality Godhead. Like one of the verses is this, Om Tad Vishnu Paramam Padam Sada Pashyanti Suryaha Deva Chakshuratatam Tad Vipra Swepano Jagravasham Sasmidate Vishnu or Paramam Padam is talking about how all the demigods are looking at they seek shelter the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. That comes in Shruti Mantra. It's one of the Vedic mantra actually. Mostly part of Rig Veda, I'm not sure, but it comes in Shruti Mantra. So like that, there are many Shruti mantras which establishes the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as Vishnu or Krishna, establishes that. So, but in Smriti Prasthan, you find much more elaborate. You find that Krishna's supremacy is there also. So, but anyway, they don't accept that. It's called Ardhakukut Nyaya. Ardhakukut Nyaya means you accept only some things by which you can, more emphasize upon impersonalist aspect of it. Even for them, what they do, they will talk more elaborately on those verses which are denying the material aspect. You understand? See, the impersonalists, what they do, they will focus upon those vakyas of the Vedas which are more talking about absolute truth being non-material, absolute truth means not having material form. Those things they will overemphasize. And they'll say, see, that means the spiritual reality means formless. It is having no qualities. They'll talk about all that.
Who will talk?
Impersonalist.
Okay.
Yeah. Mayavad is impersonalist. So they will take, so Shastra has both. They have Abheda Vakya and they have Bheda Vakya. Both. What is Abheda Vakya? Oneness. That how the Supreme Lord and the living entities are one in nature. And also, there are also statements about this, how the absolute truth is having no material qualities. Absolute truth is unborn. Absolute truth has no material form. They're talking about that also. So both of things they emphasize a lot. Abheda Vakyas and also those Vakyas which talks about the anti-material nature of absolute truth. So overly emphasize. But they won't talk much about when some statement comes about Bheda Vakya, that how absolute truth and the Supreme Personality of Godhead and living entities are different. No, because divinity is part and parcel of the Lord. They don't even, and also they will not talk about much when there is some personality of Godhead also being mentioned. Then they will not talk about it. They cannot talk much. They may say, no, okay, that is also part of, some, they concord like that. They say that is also, that impersonal Brahman only is taking some kind of form which is material in nature. That's why they're called Mayavadi. They're called Mayavadi. They think that the absolute truth has taken the form which is product of material nature. That's what, and that's meaning that Maya. Basically, the form of Krishna is Maya. Form of Vishnu is Maya. That's why they're called Mayavadi. Like that. But there are some impersonalists, those who don't disrespect the form of the Lord. They don't talk in terms of form of Krishna, Vishnu, maybe Maya, but they think the impersonal Brahman to be higher. That's what their understanding is. So they are more attached to impersonal Brahman. And they may not offend, they are mainly Brahmavadis. So that is because of their poor fundamental, their lack of knowledge. So as they become more and more matured in their devotional service, I mean, somehow they may meet pure devotees, they may likely to become attracted to the personality of God also, like that. So like that. So I'll just kind of helping you understand this, how the context of Ishopanishad. So he says here, scholars deny, but all acharyas accept. Smriti Prasthan also. So Shankara and Bhagavad Gita, Ramanacharya, Goswami, all this. Shruti is like hearing, mother, and Smriti is like hearing the sister. It is much more, like with mother is like authoritative, right? And sister is like, it becomes more palatable also, meaning it is like more easily understandable. That's the point. With sisters, it is more ease. Mother has some authoritative, but sister is much more easy. Ease is there. So Smriti is like very easily you can also understand the essence of all the Vedas. So by taking shelter of the Smritis, one can more easily understand the conclusions of all the Vedas. So this is how it is. So Isha means supreme controller. And if you see, there are 18 mantras here, correct? So he's talking about invocation, and 4th, 5th, 8th, 14th. They're talking about Sambandha Gyan. Then Abhideya is 1, 2, 3, 9, 11, 15, 16, 17, 18. They're Abhideya. If you want, you can write. So invocation 4, 5, 8, and 14. They are talking about Sambandha Gyan. 3, Sambandha, Abhideya, Provision.
Say invocation.
So if you see, in the spiritual path, there are 3 things are emphasized. So first is Sambandha Gyan. Sambandha Gyan means understanding about yourself, who are you, who is God. So having the whole knowledge aspect, Sambandha Gyan. When Sambandha Gyan is clear, then Abhideya. Abhideya means process. Process, right? So when you engage in process to attain Prayojan. Prayojan is goal. So Prabhupada says it is there in all the things. Like suppose somebody wants to get married. So Sambandha means, okay, you understand. So he is a boy, and then which family, all that you calculate, correct, no? And then age, and then qualities, with compatible, not compatible, Sambandha. And then Abhideya means you get into marriage is over, and then the wife will serve the husband will protect the wife, and they live a dharmic life. And then Prayojan. What is the Prayojan? Children, they'll get children. Then it says business life. Business life, Sambandha. Okay, you understand, which company which product you are selling, and then what are your customers, and you connect with customers, get some more partners, do all that. So Sambandha Gyan, understand the market. So it's Sambandha Gyan. The value of the product, how much it should be selling price. So many things you find out. So there is Sambandha, between you and with whom you are dealing with clients and other business partners. Sambandha Gyan. Then when Sambandha Gyan is established, after that, Abhideya. Abhideya means you get into business, start doing the business. And then what happens? Prayojan. Prayojan means you get profit. Correct, no? You go to school, so you understand what is your interest, what is your course, what is this college about, what are the teachers, what is syllabus, Sambandha Gyan. Then you get into Abhideya, that is process, study. And then what do you get? Prayojan. Prayojan is good grades and good degree. So like that in spiritual life also, Sambandha Gyan first, then Abhideya, and then Prayojan. Prayojan is love of God. Sambandha is understanding about ourselves, Kal, Ishvara, Kal, the 5 subject matters. Ishvara, Kal, Prakriti, Karma, and Jiva. These 5 things, which Bhagavata says, 5 things he talks about. So here Sambandha Gyan, invocation, 4th verse, 5th verse, 8th verse, and 14th verse. The Sambandha Gyan. Abhideya, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 9th, 11th, 15, 16, 17, 18. First, second, third, 9, 11, 15, 16, 17, 18. And Prayojan is 6th, 7th, 10th, 12th, and 13th. This Prayojan.
15, 16, 17, 18.
Yeah. First, second, third, 9th, 11th, 15, 16, 17, 18. And Prayojan is 6th, 7th, 10th, 12th, and 13th. That is Prayojan. Okay. So this Ishopanishad also establishes the authenticity of ISKCON because it's one of the Upanishads. Many times when you quote Upanishads, then those people from Mayavadis and Parisi, they may make it, they can take it as more authentic also.
1, 3, 9, 11 is what? 1, 3, 9, 11.
1, 2, 3, 9, 11, 15, 16, 17, 18. Abhideya. And it brings one nearer to Krishna, Supreme Personality Godhead.
Invocation 4.
4, 5, 8, 14.
Okay, so as you can see here, the whole invocation is divided like this. No? So first it talks about, so this is a lecture actually given to Srila Prabhupada, which is there at the invocation. Sorry, not invocation, introduction. So first is definition of Veda. We will talk about that. And then need to take guidance. And then how to get knowledge. And then for how to get knowledge, it talks about, Pramana, and the inductive versus deductive way. And then Guru, taking shelter for Guru. Talks about that. So we'll go through with that. So this is the mind map you can see here. So it's talking about how knowledge is imperfect, Vedic knowledge is for all, axiomatic truth comes from Krishna, mother guides to father, full knowledge is available, Vedas are divided into 4 Vedas and others, and then it is put into writing and all that. So this is all explained. Okay, so we'll jump into the
Probably, like, is that first part important? Can we take that down?
which one?
The flow chart? No.
Yeah. You want to take it down? Take it.
Yeah, I'll just quickly take it down.
Yeah. So this is actually the mind map of the first, the introduction part. So when you read, then you can get that. Okay, so I'm going to jump into invocation. And not, invocation. Not invocation. Introduction, sorry. Introduction. We'll go to introduction. Okay. So this is the lecture delivered by Prabhupada on October 6, 1969 at Conway Hall, London, England. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, today's subject matter is the teaching of the Vedas. What are the Vedas? The Sanskrit verbal root of Veda can be interpreted variously, but the purport is finally one. Veda means knowledge. Any knowledge you accept is Veda. For the teachings of the Vedas are the original knowledge. In the conditioned state, our knowledge is subject to many deficiencies. So what are the 4 defects any conditioned soul has? Who will tell? Without seeing anything. It is, we discuss in Discover Yourself course also.
Birth.
No. 4 defects.
Defects.
Yeah. You remember Pratyaksha Praman, Anuman Praman, Shabda Praman, Anuman Praman, Shabda Praman. So, what are the 4 defects in Pratyaksha Praman? So, you can remember like this. Imperfect senses, then cheating propensity, we get illusion, and we have tendency to commit mistake. There are 4 defects. There are 4 defects in every conditioned soul. Cheating propensity, imperfect senses, we get illusion, and we have tendency to commit mistakes. This is when we all should know this. There are 4 defects. So that's why we need to depend on something which is beyond these 4 defects. We have to, then only we can get the real knowledge, correct? So that's what he says that what are the Vedas? The Vedas, the root of Veda communities, purpose animals. The Veda means knowledge. Any knowledge you accept is Veda. For the teaching of Vedas are the original knowledge. In the conditioned state, our knowledge is subject to many deficiencies. The difference between the conditioned soul and liberated soul is that the conditioned soul has 4 kinds of defects. The first defect is that he must commit mistakes. So he gives the example of Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi, even though he was told that you don't go that time, whichever place. Mahatma Gandhi still he went to that New Delhi meeting, and then he had got died. I mean, killed. He got killed there. So because he was warned that I have some message went to him that I have some friends and I have heard there is a danger, but he did not hear. So he persisted and still he went there and he was killed. So he's saying the same great personality like Mahatma Gandhi, President Kennedy. There are so many of them. They also make mistakes. So to err is human. So this is one defect of the conditions. So that we make mistakes, and another defect is we get illusion. That means we accept something which is not. It's called Maya. Maya means what is not. So everyone is accepting the body of the self. If you ask what you are, you will say, I am Mr. John, I am rich man, I am this, I am that. All these are bodily identification. But you're not this body. This is illusion. The third defect is
Cheating.
propensity. So we have a propensity to cheat others. So he says, although a person is fool number one, he poses himself as very intelligent. Although it is already pointed out that he's in illusion and makes mistakes, he will theorize. I think this is this. But he does not even know his own position. He writes books of philosophy, although he is defective. This is a disease, that is cheating. Lastly, our senses are imperfect. We are proud of our eyes. Often someone will challenge, can you show me God? But do you have the eyes to see God? You will never see if you haven't the eyes. If immediately the room becomes dark, you cannot even see your hands also. So what power do you have to see? We cannot therefore expect knowledge Veda with these imperfect senses. So this is a point, because there are 4 defects. So that's why we cannot have proper knowledge about absolute truth or any truth, any knowledge. We cannot rely on it. Because these 4 defects, when we acquire some knowledge, we are not sure. So with all the deficiencies and conditions, we cannot give perfect knowledge to anybody. So because we have 4 defects, so when we talk about our knowledge about anything, then we cannot be sure. Even scientists, when they are giving some knowledge to people in general, can they be sure that is a perfect? What do you think, Gopal? The scientists are giving knowledge. Can they be sure that whatever knowledge they are giving is perfect?
No.
Why?
It's all material. They don't. It's all speculation. How are they supposed to know all moon scientists do? That's what we might.
Yeah,
say.
but one simple answer based on just now what we discussed.
All right.
Because they have because they have 4 defects. They're imperfect senses. Yeah, they speculate then, but they're basically they cannot understand by their senses, imperfect senses. Then they get illusion, can commit mistake, and their cheating propensity is there. So that's why they cannot get knowledge about this universe also. What is speak of spiritual knowledge. That's why when they give knowledge, we cannot be sure. So that has imperfections there. You got this point, no? So with all the deficiencies in conditioned life, we cannot give perfect knowledge to anyone. Not are we ourselves perfect. Therefore, we accept the Vedas as they are. So Vedas, when you're talking about, so that knowledge is transcendental. That is coming from Supreme Lord directly, from the spiritual world. We'll talk about it. So you may call the Vedas Hindu, but Hindu is a foreign name. We are not Hindus. So the Hindu word came actually later. When some invaders, they told those people who follow this Varnashrama Dharma, Sanatana Dharma. So they would tell them they're living near Sindhu. Sindhu is the river, no? So near Sindhu. So then they said Sindhu, Hindu. That's how it became. So our real identification is Varnashrama. Varnashrama denotes the follower of the Vedas. Those who accept the society in 8 divisions of Varna and Ashrama. So what is Varnashrama? We discussed that before. What is Varnashrama? What are 4 Varnas?
Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra.
And what are the ashramas?
Brahmachari, Grahastha,
Brahmachari, Grahastha,
Vanaprastha, and Sannyas.
Yes, and these divisions of society, these divisions
What did you
of
say?
Varna,
What did you say?
Say the same thing. This Varna, Brahma, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, many times people think it should be caste system, and they are sometimes against it. In India also you'll find that. There are movements which are against this. You heard about this? Jai Bhim. So they will also condemn, and many people also, they will condemn this caste system. They are against it. And there are reasons for it, because the current caste system which is there, it is a kind of, the Vikrit, it's like a perverted reflection of the original Varnashrama. It's like a perverted version. It's not the properly, like the way it should be. Because Krishna says, Chaturvarnya Maya system, Guna Karma Bhavasha. It is based on qualities and activities, not based on birth. That is one major flaw. And second thing is that time, because of having born in Brahmana family, the child likely was having the qualities like a Brahmana, and he could have been trained also. Possibility was there. Why? Because they would have proper Garbhadan Sanskar. So that's why the qualities would sometimes come also in the child. And also, and that's not sufficient. He should also get trained in Brahminical life also. Shama, Dama, Satyam, Shatyam, all the different qualities he should develop. And then he can become a Brahmana like that. So, but Prabhupada says this is natural. Any society you find, there are four kinds of people you find. Some people, they're intelligent class. They will be, studying this. They will be wise people, studying the scriptures, advising. They will be like in advisory roles. They can give a good decisions about certain issues and matters like that. So they are like basically Brahmana class, intelligent class of people. And the other class of people, those who are like administrators and they're managers. So they're the administrators. So they have some skills like that. Natural skills are there. And there are some people who are like, they're interested in trading, business trading. They can do easily those things. So they're mercantile group. And there are people who can be good assistants. So Prabhupada said these divisions are naturally there. Anywhere you go, any group of people you find, there are four classes of people naturally are there. Because this is how different people have certain natures. There are four broad categories there. So Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. But in strict sense, from the perspective of Varnashrama, it is not just having such nature, but they should actually be able to develop the proper qualities. That's why training is also required. That's why I was discussing other day. There is a Varnashrama college in GBC also. They are having this Varnashrama college. They are trying to now establish, and foresee how we can eventually establish this Varnashrama dharma, and also whatever. I took bath.
What you Prabhu, you make the room smell nice.
With Gopi Janman. So, so this Varnashrama dharma is natural. I mean, the division society is natural, but it requires training. It requires training. The Kalo Shudra Sambhava. This Prabhupada would say that Kalyuga, everybody is born Shudra because no proper Garbhadan Sanskar also happens. And second thing is, the people don't get training also. Where the training? See? Even if somebody is having some qualities of a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, but they're not trained. So Prabhupada came to West, and especially when he was preaching West, he was saying, I want to recruit Brahmanas. Basically, those who can be trained as a Brahman. So he wants to recruit the people and train them as Brahmanas. Prabhupada was saying, because Brahmanas come, if the head of society comes, then they will help in getting training for Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra also. So Brahmana can teach Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra also. Of course, Shudras don't get training that way, but some training, little bit, but they don't get much training. But the Kshatriya and Vaishya should get training. So Brahmana will teach them also, like that. So, because they're the teachers, they're natural teachers. They can teach us, but they will not act like that. They will not act like a Kshatriya. So it says here, all these four groups. So it's the Vedic principle, and we accept it. So Vedic principle are accepted. So okay, so he says further. So these natural classifications are found everywhere. This is the Vedic principle, and we accept it. Then it says the Vedic principles are accepted as axiomatic truth, for there cannot be any mistake. You know what is axioms?
Which cannot be invalidated.
Yeah. So in science also there are axioms.
Original truth, yeah.
Yeah, science also axioms are there. Root of -1 and I is equal to root of underscore minus. And the root -1 is equal to iota. Same way they say the entropy of a perfectly crystalline substance at absolute zero temperature.
No, the first
Of course. Yeah, but yeah, science and entropy of a perfectly crystalline substance at absolute zero temperature is zero. They say that, but actually they cannot attain it. So that is also axiom. There are many axioms science also accept. So it says Vedic principles are accepted as axiomatic truth, for there cannot be any mistake. That's the point. You put on the right. And then he says, Vedic principles are accepted. Okay. For instance, in India, cow dung is accepted as pure, and yet cow dung is the stool of an animal. In one place, you will find a Vedic instruction that if you touch a stool, you have to take a bath immediately. In another place, it is said that the stool of a cow is pure. If you smear cow dung in an impure place, that place becomes pure. With our ordinary sense, we can argue this is contradictory. Actually, it is contradictory from the ordinary point of view. It's false. It is fact, but it is not false. Sorry, but it is not false. It is fact. In Calcutta, a very prominent scientist and doctor analyzed cow dung and found that it contains all undecided properties. What did I say just now?
We said cow dung contains all the undecided properties, so it's actually pure.
So what it establishes?
Huh?
What it establishes?
That even some things might be contradictory for us in material perspective, but it isn't actually contradictory. So cow dung is actually really pure. Actually makes any place that's impure, it can make it pure.
No, but you are correct. But there is one more point which is missing. Hey, hang one point missing is what it actually makes the point. What is the actual point? When we're giving the example of cow dung, what is the actual point? What's the main point we're talking about?
There are some exceptions.
What is the main point we're talking about when we are giving the example of cow dung as antithetic properties?
Everything in the Vedas is correct. Everything.
Correct. That's the point. Vedic injunction.
Oh, we're not really.
Yeah. So Vedic injunction has to be followed without any argument. They're like axiomatic. Correct. Like there is no logic. Can you give an argument? You're saying, if you touch the dung of any animal. Today we are discussing this book. So if you touch the dung of any animal, then what happens? You become impure. But now cow dung is purifying you. Forget about contamination. It purifies you. It's like ridiculous, somebody may think. But it's not ridiculous because that's how the Vedic injunctions are. Same way, if you touch the bone, it is contaminated. But there is particular aquatic animal, his bone, we use it for abhishek and blowing the conch. This conch actually is nothing but bone of an animal. So how can you take the bone of any, if you touch the bone also you take bath. But this bone, you blow conch like that. So Radha Maharaj was giving a nice example. He's saying that how you cannot argue. So he was saying very beautifully. So he says that how you cannot argue like this. You can say like cow is one of the pure animal because in the goodness. So its cow dung is very pure. But cow is very pure and very dear to Krishna. And what to speak of Brahmanas? Brahmanas are much more dear to Krishna. Namo Brahmana Devaya, Go Brahmana Hitacha. But Brahmanas are also more dear. Because Brahmanas are actually engaging in devotional service, worshipping Krishna, studying Vedic literatures, enlightening others. So more pure Brahmanas. So if cow dung is pure, then Brahmana's dung should be more pure also. Somebody gives logic like this, and then he tries to like the way cow dung is being used, you cannot use that way. It is, though he may be very pure Brahmana, but his stool will not be. That has to be, he has to take bath. Correct. So one cannot apply this kind of logic in Vedic injunction. That's what Radha Maharaj was saying this point. So one cannot apply his logic like that. So one should know that this is coming from the absolute and Supreme Lord. So it has to be accepted as it is. One cannot apply, sometimes you may apply logic somewhere, but it is beyond your logic. It's like axiomatic truth. You have something.
But what if they ask about the size of sun and moon?
Huh?
Size of sun and moon.
Who?
Like people in Vedas, I think moon is bigger than sun, right?
Not bigger, distance point of view. Yeah, but
it's farther than the sun, and people say moon is like really close to Earth, and its sun is 92 million miles.
Yeah, but moon is farther than sun actually. Correct. So yeah, those things can be explained on the basis of that how science has limitations. And so when you talk about this cosmology, those aspects. So yes, Vedic cosmology. There are videos, but we can watch maybe some get more details of it. Some videos also on it. Our some scientists, proper disciples have made some videos also. You can see them, then you get more clarity about it. But yeah, so when there is a contradiction, so one proper disciple said this, I heard this, a very sound logic. He said, so Vedas are telling, their perspective, and some scientists are telling their perspective with their calculation, their imperfect sense of whatever they found out. So now you and me are very small fellows. We cannot go and even do all their experiment and get verified also. So he said that I prefer to believe in Vedas, in the scriptures, because I see the Vedas have proved their character or integrity. What they have said, it is time tested. They have never, gone back from their words. What Gita is saying, what Vedas are telling from thousands of years, they're the same thing. But scientists they kept changing their theories. Second thing, those who follow the Vedic scriptures, they're the people of very high character. They're having great qualities. And these people, those who are talking about different kinds of theories, scientific theories, which may be contradicting to Vedic theories, see their life. So you're saying that, many times they're a woman hunter, they're eating beef and they're having not proper character. So I prefer to take shelter of the Vedas because somewhere I have to put faith. Because for me, I have to put faith only. So I have to put, better I put faith in the Vedas, like he says. Yeah. So another thing, Radha Maharaj was telling a nice example. He said that once one lady, she went to one shop and she wanted to get milk. Clothes. She wanted to get clothes. So now first time she is going to get clothes because in village they would get cloth in a simple way. There will not be any measurement or something. They just simply get it, or they would just sew it or something without much measurement. They'd have like that's like when you go cooking in village and all. My mothers they cook. They don't have weighing machine and all. They just cook it. They know it. They know how to make how much to put and everything. Same with this lady when she went first time she went to the city to purchase some city address shop she went, and then he asked, give me some clothes, for my some sari and all. So this fellow said, how much you want? So she said, how much you want? You tell me the parameter, how much you want. So she told, for measurement I only use one thing, that is my lota. For milk I use my lota. Lota means some kind of liter, like that. He said, okay, give me 2 lota. 2 lota of clothes. She said something. This fellow said, what? 2 lota? How can you get 2 lota? How can you clothe? I can give 2 lota of clothes. And she said, you can give me that only, because that's what. They said, I'll give you meters. I don't know. You give me lota. So Raghava was saying that the foolish village lady, she did not know that cloth cannot be measured by lota. So he was saying the same way when conditioned souls, when they have their own frame of reference, like we want to measure everything, the knowledge of absolute truth, the Vedic knowledge, only by our lota-like brain, like with our perspective. Everything should fit in there. But the Vedas, they are beyond our lota of brain. So some things may not be comprehensible by our limited brain substance, like that, with our conditioned mind may not be. That's why Vedic knowledge is called adhoksha, or Lord is called adhoksha, beyond the perception of mind and senses. So how we can understand? We can understand on the authority of the Vedas, on the authority of the absolute truth, Vedic knowledge, and by following sincerely those teachings, gradually one can realize. Like Sukadeva Goswami, when he's speaking Srimad Bhagavatam, he is not speaking Srimad Bhagavatam on some mundane platform. So it is mentioned that he was in Turiya state. Turiya state means he was in Samadhi state. He was in transcendently situated. And he, by the dint of his transcendental situation, he was able to see. He could see how the universe is formed. You see, amazingly, if you read 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, there it talks about how Arjuna got Vishwarup Darshan. And Arjuna was sitting at one place, but he was able to see the entire universe. Ananta Shesha, Garbhodakshai Vishnu, and the entire universe he was able to see. And sitting in one place. How? By the mercy of the Lord. So by mercy of the Lord, you can see things which are beyond your, beyond your capability, abilities. What you can see, we cannot see even what is going on in the next room. We cannot see even what is going on, in so many places of this Boston itself. We can't understand also. Even if you want to know, also we can't know it. You understand? No? Sometimes there are so many things we cannot know. So the point is that how much we can know about this material universe only. Very, very difficult for us. We can't know. So how can you perceive, things which is beyond this material universe? Not possible. So only by the mercy of the Lord one can see. It is written that how by the mercy of Krishna, Arjuna was able to see all that. All other fellows in the battlefield, they were not able to see Vishwarup Darshan. Only Arjuna, because Krishna gave that vision to him. The same way, when Sukadeva Goswami is able to perceive that this cosmos, the creation, that is because of mercy of the Lord, because it was transcendently situated. So things becomes perceivable to us by the mercy of the Lord. Actually, even to see material things also we need mercy of the Lord. How? To mercy of material nature only you can see, I can see you and him also, and this car, building, everything. If somebody gets color blindness, he cannot get color करने समझ में आएगा उसको. If somebody becomes blind, he doesn't have the mercy of the material nature, then he can't see even ordinary things of this world. So we are dependent so much on the Lord. So the degree, so Lord gives ordinary all of us conditions, so we get some eyes. So some vision is there, little bit, some vision, whatever. But we can't see, many things.
But for example,
We can't see subtle things.
like even in material aspects, even then we are also kind of weak in some aspects. Like even in material, like
We cannot see X-ray, we cannot see infrared rays. We
or
cannot.
and like, same thing with smell. Like dog is better smell
Yeah,
than us
correct.
and all
Yeah.
that.
So we are so limited. That's why the imperfect senses like that. So only by when God gives us, the Supreme Lord reveals us, then we can understand more. Getting, no? So it is not like Vedic knowledge. You have to just only blindly have to follow. No, when you practice it, one can get.
For intention.
Yeah, intentional.
Mm.
Yeah, one gets vision. One can get the transcendental. I mean, by the practice of, as one gets elevated more and more, then this knowledge becomes perceivable also, like that. So he says,
Where by the way in the
yeah, this is I can show him the paragraph.
second.
So with our ordinary sense, we can argue this is contradictory. Actually, it is contradictory from the ordinary point of view, but it is not false. It is a fact. In Calcutta, a very prominent scientist, doctor, analyzed cow dung and has antiseptic properties. Okay. In India, if a person tells another, you must do this, the other party may say, what do you mean? Is this a Vedic injunction that I have to follow you without an argument? So this is Shastra Vakya, Veda Vakya. The Veda Vakya, I have to follow it. My father would say this, that ये शास्त्र का वाक्य है क्या? शास्त्रों में लिखा है क्या ये? Say like that. So people talk in village this way, like this. That oh, is it a Vedic injunction that I have to follow you without any argument? That means Vedic injunction should be followed without any argument. Vedic injunctions cannot be interpreted, but ultimately, if you carefully study why these injunctions are there, you will find that they are all correct, and you can actually understand how they are correct. See, two things. One thing is that many Vedic injunctions you can see how they holds true. Like see Vastu Shastra, Ayurveda. So Ayurveda talks about so many herbs which you have not researched, but you find that herb, you make use of it, it works. Same Vastu Shastra. You may not ordinarily know how it works, but it talks about it that this way to keep certain orientation. It works. It has impact. That it is proven already like that. So if you carefully study, you can understand they are true also. You can understand. And some things you may not be able to prove right now. You cannot prove it to be wrong also. See, some things you may not be able to prove it right, but you cannot prove it to be wrong also. So something is beyond you right now. But doesn't mean that we can reject it. So just like some people just reject mythology. It's all mythology. But who are you to say mythology? Just because it is beyond your experience, why you say mythology? Like I often give example, like say 100 years before, somebody would have said, I can see Sumit Prabhu sitting in America. I can see Sumit Prabhu who is sitting in America, and maybe I'm in India. Then I can talk to him and I can see him also. What he's talking, what is how much he has beard, how much he is spec, what is color of his shirt and all that. But they say, what is mythology? It's not possible. But people could have said, right? But with the mercy of technology, we are able to do this. We're able to talk, no? You are sitting in America, somebody is sitting in India, they're able to talk. 100 years before, they would have said, what you're talking.
It was like someone would guess.
No, 100 years before, they would have said it is not possible what you're talking. So now we are talking about many years before when this was possible, when they were able to have certain vimanas, and like Sanjay was able to tell what is happening in Kurukshetra. So people say mythology. They don't believe. They don't want to believe. And the description about different planets, the different kinds of ocean. So then people say it's all mythology. So people don't have any understanding. So they cannot prove it to be wrong also. They may not be able to prove it.
Interpretation like all these things that we don't think people are like making theories and like time. But it's also bending time and space. So it's like it cannot be like proven as well. Like all these scientific theories that we can teleport, we can time travel and whatever.
Yeah, but they cannot time travel.
No, I'm saying like no, I'm saying like that this is what people think might happen in the future. Yeah. And we don't believe it right now. Not possible.
So it says the Vedas are considered to be mother and Brahma is called grandfather, the forefather, because he was the first to be instructed in the Vedic knowledge. In the beginning, the first creature was Brahma. He received this knowledge, Vedic knowledge, and imparted to Narada and other disciples and sons. They also distributed to their disciples. In this way, the Vedic knowledge comes down by disciple succession. So it comes in Guru Shishya Parampara. It is confirmed Bhagavad Gita that Vedic knowledge is understood in this way. If you make experimental endeavor, you come to same conclusion, but you save time. You can do experiment, you get the same conclusion, but it will take time if you do experiment on your own. And some things you may not be able to fathom also, because that something may be beyond you. So if you want to know who your father is, and if you accept your mother as authority, then whatever she says can be accepted without argument. The three kinds of evidence, you know this, no? Pratyakshma, Anuman, and Shabda Praman. Pratyaksha means, what is that? Pratyaksh Praman?
Direct evidence.
Direct evidence. Direct evidence is not very good because our senses are not perfect. We are seeing the sun daily and it appears to us just like a small disk, but it is actually far, far larger than many planets. Of what value is this seen? Therefore, we have to read books. Then we can understand about the sun. So direct experience is not perfect. Then there is Anuman. Anuman means inductive knowledge. It may be like this, hypothesis. For instance, Darwin's theory says it may be like that, it may be like that, but that is not science. No, Anuman, speculation. That is a suggestion, and it is also not perfect. But if you receive the knowledge from the authoritative sources, that is perfect. That is called Shabda Praman. Receive knowledge from authoritative sources. So what are the three Pramanas? Gopal Bro? What were the three Pramanas? What are the three Pramanas?
Shabda Praman, Anuman Praman, and direct Praman.
Pratyaksh Praman. So Pratyaksha, Anuman, Shabda Praman. Shabda Praman is the most reliable way to gain knowledge. Perfect way to gain knowledge from the right source. So but if you receive the knowledge from authoritative sources, that is perfect. If you receive a program guide from the radio station authorities, you accept it. You don't deny it. You don't have to make an experiment because it is received from the authoritative sources. Yes, bro?
You're recording this.
Which one? Yeah. So Vedic knowledge is called Shabda Praman. What is called? Shabda Praman. Another name is Shruti. Shruti means that this knowledge has to be received simply by oral reception. Shruti. So people would before call Shruti Dhar. Once they would hear, they would remember it. So it says, the Vedas instruct that in order to understand transcendental knowledge, we have to hear from the authority. The transcendental knowledge is knowledge from beyond this universe. So transcendental knowledge that is beyond from this universe. So that is coming from the spiritual world. Within this universe is material knowledge, and beyond this universe is transcendental knowledge. Okay. We cannot even go to the end of the universe. So how can we go to the spiritual world? Just to acquire full knowledge is impossible. So there is a spiritual sky. There is another nature. Just like we find this material world, material sky, then there is a spiritual sky. In fact,
3/4.
actually, 3/4 is the material spiritual sky, and 1/4 is material sky. In fact, the entire thing is spiritual creation of the Lord. In that, Mahat Tattva is simply like a cloud. And in that, there is material creation, which happens. All the universe, everything is just a cloud in this entire big spiritual sky. That's why when somebody wants to get liberated also, so spiritual sky is the first thing, and then there are spiritual planets. Different spiritual planets are there, and Golok Vrindavan is the highest planet. So there is another nature which is beyond manifestation and non-manifestation. Why saying manifestation, non-manifestation? Because this material nature manifests and unmanifests. Universe is created, annihilated, and it happens to manifest. But the spiritual sky that doesn't happen like that. It's always manifest. It's always there. But how will you know that there is a sky?
Isn't that why once you've gone to higher planes, you've remained there spiritually?
Yeah, if you have become self-realized soul, if you have become completely God-realized, pure devotee, and you have got love of God, then while being in this world also, you can go to that possible. And they can participate in the pastimes of the Lord and come back at their will. That is possible for them. But we cannot imitate it. It takes a lot of time and effort when you become pure devotee.
Any example?
Yeah, there are examples. There are examples of Rupa Goswami. I was saying, Rupa Goswami, he was into Krishna's Leela. He was into the pastime where Radha Krishna Leela was going, and then there was some laughter. So he was laughing because of that particular pastime, and then somebody got offended, Vaishnava, and that's how he got disconnected. So Prabhupada says, his heart becomes like a television, where all the spiritual pastimes he is able to directly witness. he's entering into the pastime. So he's just like if you see TV, now some other place it is giving you their direct live. Same way, heart becomes a live telecast of spiritual world. That is for pure devotees. So our TV is off right now. it has to be repaired. So the whole spiritual journey is about repairing that TV then. And then eventually, when they give up this deha, then they attain the siddha. So this is called siddha deha. So there is this material body, it's called bhautik deha, then there is siddha deha. So those who become self-realized, those who become pure devotees, they can realize their siddha deha also. And then sometimes they may go in the siddha deha and they may enter in pastime also. I was saying that in midterm instruction, I was giving the example. There's one guru, he went to spiritual world. Radharani lost something. Then other fellow said, he also went to the spiritual world. Both of them not coming. The third went. And then he found that they all three came back later. And then they got, Radharani was seeing some pan. Of course, it's not pan of this world. Spiritual pan. He was eating and then she gave it, as a gift.
What's fun?
And then something semi-table. And then then they brought here and it was very fragrant. And then they had nice Sankirtan and all that. This is mentioned in one of the book actually. So that gives us the clue. But anyway, nothing to imitate about it. So we are far from that. Right now we have to do our 16 hours nicely and all that. Perform devotional service. So we cannot imitate like that. Okay. So all this knowledge is there, but how will you make experiment? It is not possible about a spiritual sky and where the planets and inhabitants are eternal. Saying, but how will you know that there is a sky where the planets and inhabitants are eternal? All this knowledge is there. But how will you make experiment? It is not possible. Therefore, you have to take the assistance of the Vedas. This is Vedic knowledge. In our Krishna conscious movement, we are accepting knowledge from the highest authority, who is Krishna. Krishna is accepted as the highest authority by all classes of men. I am speaking first of the two classes of transcendentalists. One class is transcendentalists called impersonalistic, Mayavadi. They are generally known as Vedantists, led by Shankaracharya. And there is another class of transcendentalists called Vaishnavas, like Brahmanacharya, Madhvacharya, Vishnu Swami. Both Shankara Sampradaya and the Vaishnava Sampradaya have accepted Krishna as a Supreme Personality of Godhead. Shankaracharya is supposed to be an impersonalist who preached impersonalism, impersonal Brahman. But it is a fact that he is a covered personalist. So though he himself gave impersonalist philosophy, but he, as an individual, is a personality. He is a personalist. He believed in Krishna as Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is Shankara, Lord Shiva only. So it's a covered, so called his covered personality. That's why he said, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Moodamate. To his disciples, he was telling that, you should worship the Supreme Lord actually, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In his commentary on the Bhagavad Gita, he wrote, Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is beyond this cosmic manifestation. And then again he confirmed that Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana, is Krishna. He has come as the son of Devaki and Vasudeva. He particularly mentioned the names of his father and mother. So Krishna is accepted as the Supreme Personality of Godhead by all transcendentalists. There is no doubt about it. Our source of knowledge in Krishna consciousness is the Bhagavad Gita, which comes directly from Krishna. We have published Bhagavad Gita as it is because we accept Krishna as he is speaking without any interpretation. You are attentive now. This is Krishna consciousness. That saves time. That saves much time. If you accept the right authority or source of knowledge, then you save time. Then you save much time. For example, there are two systems of knowledge in the material world, inductive and deductive. From deductive, you accept that man is mortal. Okay, deductive, inductive. Inductive means you go like you find this, then you find that, then you find that, you go on researching like this. In inductive one. Deductive means you receive top down. Lord gives you the knowledge, comes in Guru Shishya Parampara, disciple succession, and you can receive it. So inductive, deductive. So for example, so he says, from deductive you accept that man is mortal. Deductive knowledge, you understand it. But your father says man is mortal, your sister says man is mortal, everyone says man is mortal. But you do not experiment. You accept it, correct? That is deductive. You accept it as a fact that man is mortal. Now, if you want to research to find out whether man is mortal, inductive. So then what you have to do? You have to study each and every man. And you may come to think that there may be some man who is not dying, but you have not seen him yet. So how will you know? So in this way, your research will never be finished. You cannot. So same way, can you understand who is God? Just by your research, not the research, you cannot. Because when you accept the authority of the Vedas, then you can accept it. So in Sanskrit, this process is called Aroha, the ascending process. If you want to attain knowledge by any personal endeavor, by executing your imperfect senses, you will never come to the right conclusions. That is not possible. So there is a statement in the Brahma Samhita, just ride on the airplane, which runs at the speed of mind. Our material airplanes can run 2000 miles per hour. But what is the speed of mind? You are sitting at your home, you immediately think of India, say 10,000 miles away, and at once it is in your home. Your mind has gone there. the speed of mind is so swift. The mind is so swift. Therefore, it is stated, if you travel at this speed for millions of years, you will find that the spiritual sky is unlimited. It is not possible even to approach it. Therefore, the Vedic intention is that one must approach the word compulsory is used, a bona fide spiritual master.
So is it possible to like map it out, the
No.
spiritual realm? Or is it just like you said there's like planets and stuff, so it's not this one.
Sorry?
You said it's like planets and stuff, so like you that can kind of shift where you are in the spiritual realm. Is there like a way to like know where you are? Like,
Right now.
or just for reference. You know?
You
He's
can.
asking if there's like a map, just like how we have Earth, Saturn, Uranus, Jupiter.
Yeah, Daddy.
Oh yeah.
You know.
You can know. Yeah. There is some idea. You may not be able to fathom it 100% because it's another realm. You know, it's not so easy for you to comprehend. Just like a small ant, she cannot fathom all the three-dimensional world very properly because she has the brain which is quite limited. So for us to fathom spiritual world would not be so possible, but we can still get an idea. Yes, what you're saying is correct. Like Golok Vrindavan is the highest planet is mentioned there. So then next, what is the planet? It's all mentioned. So the scriptures do talk about it. So you get some idea, some mapping. Yes, that's true. So he says, yeah, so that's why one cannot understand by speculating with the speed of mind also. For millions of years also you cannot understand Vedic knowledge. So what we have to do is, we have to accept. Yeah. So this is spiritual world mapping. I'll show you later.
Oh,
But it's some kind of general, no? Just to get an idea. But
yeah,
I mean,
it's not exactly like.
yeah, I mean, yeah, your experience would be a much, but you can get some idea. So they made it. So anyway, so he says that therefore the Vedic intention is that one must approach the word compulsory use, a bona fide spiritual master, a guru. And what is the qualification of a spiritual master? What is the qualification of a spiritual master? He is the one who has rightly heard the Vedic message of the right, the first one. And second qualification is, he must be practically firmly established in Brahman. So he should be first heard the knowledge from the right source, from his guru and disciple succession. Second is, he should himself be established in Brahman. That means his activity is also in a way that he is engaging in devotional service. No? He is established in Brahman. He is doing, his life is based on that knowledge also. The two qualities he must have, otherwise he is not bona fide. So this Krishna consciousness movement is completely authorized from Vedic principles. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says the actual aim of Vedic research is to find out Krishna. What is the verse? Vedesh sarve ahameva vedya. Purpose of all the Vedas is to find out Krishna. In the Brahma Samhita, it is also stated Krishna, Govinda has innumerable forms, but they are all one. They're not like our forms, which are fallible. His form is infallible. Whose form? Krishna's form. My form is a beginning, but his form has no beginning. Why? Because Krishna's form is transcendental, spiritual. Our form is having limitations. It is Ananta. And his form, so many multi-forms, has no end. My form is sitting here and not in my apartment. You are sitting there and not in your apartment. But Krishna can be everywhere at one time. He can sit down in Golok Vrindavan and at the same time he is everywhere, all pervading. He is original, the oldest. Whenever you look at a picture of Krishna, you'll find a young boy, 15 or 20 years old. You'll never find an old man. You have seen pictures of Krishna as a charioteer from Bhagavad Gita. At that time, he was not less than 100 years old. He had great grandchildren also.
But 125.
Yeah, but he looked just like a boy, like Gopal. Krishna, God.
Not 16.
Yeah, it's correct. Gopal means I'm talking about the Krishna, God never becomes old. That is his supreme power. He never becomes old. And if you want to search out Krishna by studying the Vedic literature, then you will be baffled. It may be possible, but it is very difficult. So but you can very easily learn about him from his devotee. His devotee can deliver him to you. Here he is. Take him. That is the potential of Krishna's devotee. See, this one point is clear. Now, first establish about Vedas. How Vedic knowledge, Vedas are coming from the Lord. But Veda also is like a big forest. It's like you have a big forest and you have to find a jadi booty for your particular disease. How will you find out? It's so dangerous. I mean, forest of herbs and trees and plants, and how will you get that jadi booty which is required for you?
Drone and make it fly over.
So actually, you need a Vaidya who can give you from there. So that guru is compared to that Vaidya, the doctor who can actually he can exactly find out and give it to you. This is the jadi booty. So coming to the forest is good, but you need a guru. You need a Vaidya to be able to give you that. Another example, you go to a shopping mall and there are so many varieties of shops. And they're giving, take this, take that, so many things. But the real thing, they say the like some diamond or something, the real thing, which actually, is what you need. You may miss out. Where so many other things are going on. They're just putting you in your bag, all that, and be paying off and all that. So you need somebody who's, a person who can directly guide you. Go to that last booth, and there you will get your thing done. Same way, the purpose of the Veda is to attain Krishna. But Vedas are telling so many things. Karma Kanda, you can get material benedictions also. So many things Vedas are talking about. You get impersonal Brahman also. So many things Vedas are talking about. Vedas are like manual. They're like a big forest. It's like a big shop. So many things are there. But the purpose of the Vedas is to know Krishna. The purpose of the Vedas is to come out of this material world and go back to Godhead. To attain love for Krishna. Vedesha sarve aham eva vete. So that's the purpose of the Vedas. That's why one needs a spiritual master who can help you understand the purpose of the Vedas and to help you to take to Krishna. That's why Vedas alone is not sufficient. You need to take shelter of devotees to be able to understand the Vedic knowledge. You're getting this point, no? So we need the Guru, spiritual master, to understand the Vedic knowledge. And we can interpret also Vedas in different way. Because it is in Sanskrit. One Sanskrit word can have 10,000, not 10,000, but many meanings. So you can interpret it like anything. So like once Hari Parshad Prabhu came to Pune, he was talking one verse, which was glorifying Vishnu. I don't remember the verse, but he told the whole verse. And then he told, now see, same verse, it will talk about the glorification of curd. So he told, this verse is indicating Vishnu. But if you take the meaning like this, it is indicating curd. And it's completely describing the curd. They're telling whether it is glorification of curd or Vishnu, how will you understand it? Whatever you want to take, whatever you want to take, you can take it. But no, you have to take the version of the bona fide devotees. That's why disciple succession is there. Along with the scriptures, we have also disciple succession because
the curd story of the Brahman.
Because disciple succession will give you the right meaning. That's why Bhagavad Gita as it is. Because otherwise, there are so many interpretations. That's why you need the purports of the scriptures, acharyas and bona fide acharyas. You're getting this point, bro? So we need to take shelter of the bona fide devotees. Then only you can. So that's why he's saying it may be. So that's why it is said, Vedeshu Dullava. That means by Vedas it is very difficult to attain. Vedeshu Dullava, Adurlava Atma Bhakta. But it becomes Adurlava, very easy to find through devotees. That's why he says. No, it is very difficult, but you can easily learn about him from his devotee. His devotee can deliver him to you. Here is Krishna. Take him. Take Krishna. So he can give you Krishna. That is the potential of Krishna's devotees. Yeah? Take him. Originally there was one Veda, but there was no necessity of reading it. Why? Why there was no necessity of reading it? Because people were so intelligent and had such sharp memory that by once hearing from the lips of the spiritual master, they would understand it.
But now
they would immediately grasp the whole purport. But 5,000 years ago, Vyasadeva put the Vedas in writing for the people in this age, Kali Yuga. He knew that eventually the people would be short-lived, their memories would be very poor, and their intelligence would not be very sharp. Therefore, let me teach this Vedic knowledge in writing. He divided the Vedas into 4. What are the 4 Vedas?
Vedic, Yadur,
Sarva, not Soma, Sama.
Sama.
Then he gave the charge of these Vedas to his different disciples. He then thought of the less intelligent class of men, Stri, Shuddha and Dvijabandhu. He considered the woman class, Shudra class, worker class and Dvijabandhu. Dvijabandhu refers to those who are born in a high family but who are not properly qualified. A man who is born in the family of a Brahmana but is not qualified is called Brahmabandhu. You understand? No? The Kshatriya is born in Kshatriya family but he doesn't have the qualities like that. It's called Kshatrabandhu. Bandhu means friend. He is not actually a Brahmana, he is a friend of a Brahmana. Bandhu, like that is mentioned. For this person, he compiled the Mahabharata, the history of India, and the 18 Puranas. These are all parts of the Vedic literature. The Purana, the Mahabharata, the 4 Vedas, the Upanishads. The Upanishads are part of the Vedas. Then Vyasadeva summarized all the Vedic knowledge for scholars and philosophers in what is called Vedanta Sutra. It's called summary. We have discussed this already. The summary is Vedanta Sutra. So, Traya Prasthana. What is that? Shruti Prasthana. That is Vedic mantras, Upanishads. Then Vedanta Sutra is Nyaya Prasthana, because through logic and sound reasoning, the absolute is established. It's called Nyaya Prasthana, that is Vedanta Sutra. And Smriti Prasthana is actually Purana, Samhitas, and Mahabharata and all that. Gita and all that is coming in the Smriti Prasthana.
made for Brahma Bandhu. What did
Yeah. I mean, those are not so qualified because they cannot understand directly the Shruti, Prasthana, Nyaya, Prasthana so easily. Because it's more like, it's like, it's like I tell, Gopal Prabhu. Gopal Prabhu coming in time is good.
I came in time, Prabhu.
And I'm just telling you. And
I came on time today.
if I tell him that, no, Prabhu, we should speak the truth. And I tell
Prabhu,
him.
I actually came on time today.
Yeah.
Get
I'm just telling, for example, if I tell him you should speak the truth, I should not speak lie, I should not tell the lie, and all that if I tell him. So he may understand, he may not understand. But if I tell him elaborately stories and all that, how, if you speak the truth, you'll be rewarded. If you speak a lie, then you understand. No? So intelligent person, you just heard the knowledge, he will understand also. You get realization, you can understand, it is very clear for him. But sometimes it requires more elaboration. So that's why Smriti Prasthana, it gives you a lot of elaboration in the Puranas. So many stories, about different personalities. And that's how you can get the subject matter very easy. Correct, no? So those are not very intelligent, they need more descriptions, more knowledge. So that's why it becomes easy, for them to understand. Say Puranas, Mahabharatas, for Dvij Bandhus, for Stri, for worker class, Shudra.
But Vedas are bigger than Puranas.
What?
Inside Vedas is Shruti Prasthana.
Shruti Prasthana, yeah. Vedas and Upanishads are Shruti
Those
Prasthana.
are much.
But they may not know whatever I don't, but we may not know how much. Of course, they are big. Vedas are always big. But what I'm saying is, sometimes we may not be, it's generally very intelligent people may be able to understand. Like, for example, Vedanta Sutra, what it was? Janmadhyasya yatah, over. This is one word, Raso Vaisaha. So Bhagavatam is like a commentary of the Vedanta Sutra. It describes such elaborately. Janmadhyasya yatah, Anvadhyasya yatah, Tene Brahma Hidayadi Kavi Mayanti Suyarana.
I have to go to Chennai.
No, this is only one paragraph. We finish it, Prabhu. Just finish it.
Oh.
So he says,
I'll bring Chennai ka pen here.
Vyasadeva was not very. So Vyasadeva personally wrote the Vedanta Sutra under the instruction of Narada, his Guru Maharaj, spiritual master. But still he was not satisfied. Who? Vyasadeva. This is a long story describing Srimad Bhagavatam. Vyasadeva, Veda Vyasa was not very satisfied, even after compiling many Puranas and Upanishads. And even after writing the Vedanta Sutra, he was not satisfied. Why? Because he did not exclusively glorify the Lord. Because all this, Puranas and Vedas and everything is not directly talking about the glories of the Lord and attaining love of God. Directly not talking about the Supreme Lord. So that's why he was not satisfied. So Vyasadeva was not very satisfied even after compiling many Puranas and Upanishads, even after writing the Vedanta Sutra. Then his spiritual master Narada instructed him, you explain the Vedanta Sutra. Vedanta means ultimate knowledge, and the ultimate knowledge is Krishna. Krishna says that throughout all the Vedas, one has to understand him. Who is him? Krishna. Vedas sarve rahame Vedya. Krishna also says, Vedanta Veda Vedesha Chana. I am the compiler of the Vedanta Sutra and I am the knower of the Vedas. Therefore, the ultimate objective is Krishna. That is explaining all the Vaishnava commentaries on Vedanta philosophy. This is what I was saying that. All the Vaishnava Acharyas accept Krishna as God. We Gaudiya Vaishnavas have our commentary on Vedanta philosophy called Govinda Bhashya by Baldev Vidyabhushan. Similarly, Ramanujacharya has a commentary and Madhvacharya has one. The version of Shankaracharya is not the only commentary, the Shariraka Bhashya, which is we should not read because it is Mayavad interpretation. There are many Vedanta commentaries, but because the Vaishnavas did not present the first Vedanta commentary, people are under the wrong impression that Shankaracharya is the only Vedanta commentary, which is not correct. Besides that, Vyasadeva himself wrote the perfect Vedanta commentary. What is that? Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam begins with the first words writing, with the first verse of Vedanta Sutra, Janmadi Asyataha. And that Janmadi Asyataha is fully explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. The Vedanta Sutra simply hints at what is Brahman, the absolute truth. The absolute truth is that form from whom everything emanates. That is Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is a summary, but it is explained in detail in Srimad Bhagavatam. If everything is emanating from the absolute truth, then what is the nature of that absolute truth? That is explained in Srimad Bhagavatam. See, originally also Veda was very small, like when it was revealed in the knowledge in the heart of Brahma. Then Brahma expanded it. The further disciple also expanded it. And then same way, many sages and great have given also their purpose. That's why it became Smriti Prasthana also. So it is actually trying to help. Like say suppose, like we are discussing now, and we give some example and we explain it more. So it is not like directly, the Shruti, but it may come under some Smriti. Understand? Of course, we are not bona fide acharya. We are not like acharya. But I'm saying if suppose some acharya gives it some explanation. So then that becomes a Smriti Shastra, some bona fide acharyas. So I'm just trying to help. I'm just trying to make you understand. I'm not saying that we are writing a Smriti now, but we're just trying to understand the same knowledge. But the point is, some acharya, they may expand the same Vedic truth, and they give so many details of it. And sometimes some narrations are there, so that becomes Smriti. Puranas are there. So if everything is emanating from the absolute truth, then what is the nature of the absolute truth? That is explaining Srimad Bhagavatam. The absolute truth must be conscious. He is self-effulgent, Swarat. We develop our consciousness and knowledge by receiving knowledge from others. But for him, it is said that he is self-effulgent. So nobody gives knowledge to the Lord. Lord has self-effulgent. He is self-effulgent. He himself has the knowledge. The whole summary of Vedic knowledge is the Vedanta Sutra, and Vedanta Sutra is explained by the writer himself in Srimad Bhagavatam. We finally request those who are actually after Vedic knowledge to try to understand the explanation of all Vedic knowledge from Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. So it's very beautifully he compiled. I'll just summarize into me. See what happens is. So first he says about, let's see from the beginning, how it begins. So first he talks about that what are the Vedas. Veda in general means knowledge. But when you talk about Vedic knowledge, we are talking about the transcendental knowledge coming from the Supreme Lord. And then he says why we need that, because we have 4 defects. What are the 4 defects? Imperfect senses, we get illusion, cheating propensity, and tendency to commit mistake. The 4 defects are there. Because of that, we cannot get knowledge in this world only. What is because of spiritual knowledge? No, that's why we need to depend on the Vedas, Vedic knowledge. Correct? No. And the Prabhupada clarifies that how ours are Varnashrama Dharma, and Varnashrama Dharma actually they were followers of the Vedas. Varna and Ashrama, they are followers of the Vedas. That's how our society was. And then Prabhupada explains about that how Vedic injunction was like it has to be accepted because it is it's aparushaya. Aparushaya means it is not product of someone's who is having 4 defects. It is coming from the Supreme Lord directly. So it has to be accepted as it is without having any argument. No, correct? No, that he says. And then he talks about how Veda is also called Shruti. No, but it has to be explained, heard. It was heard, and then people would understand it. No? And he told about Vedas are like authority, like mother, saying to son that he is a father. That's how Vedas we can accept because Vedas are the authority. And then he says Vedas are considered mother, and Brahma is called the grandfather, the forefather, and Brahma is the one who first received the knowledge of the Veda. And then it comes in disciple succession, Narada, and further it comes down like that. And then he says that so same way Vedic knowledge is accepted through disciple succession. He says this is the way we accept Vedic knowledge. No? And then he says, then he elaborates about also how you cannot understand by your experimental knowledge. No? Pratyaksha, Anuman, you cannot. So only by Shabda Praman. Then he gives the example that how man is mortal, that example he gives, right? So you can, an hypothesis by which you cannot understand. So this is very, so you have so Darwin theory, Anuman Praman, you cannot understand. So only by accepting the authority, you can understand. So Vedic knowledge is Shabda Praman. So because this knowledge is beyond this material universe, from there it comes. So then Prabhupada talks about there is spiritual sky, there is spiritual universe, spiritual planets. And all of the acharyas have accepted Krishna as Supreme Godhead, and also the existence of the spiritual world, they have accepted. So we have also, we should have no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. Krishna is the Supreme Godhead. And he says that, so Vedic knowledge, we can just accept, as it is, without any interpretation, because the knowledge is pure. So, and it's authoritative. So, and we can save time. So much time can be saved. And then we talk about which are the 2 methods to gain knowledge? Aroha Pantha and Avroha Pantha. Aroha means ascending process, and Avroha means descending process. So we are trying to get knowledge by research, trying to understand this. So Aroha. Avroha means you descend. So descending. So disciple succession from the disciple succession and Vedic knowledge we receive, that is descending process, like that. And it says that even if you travel with the speed of mind, you cannot understand even material universe also properly. So how can you understand the spiritual universe? So the way to understand Vedas is by approaching bona fide spiritual master. So it establishes how Vedas we need to approach, because it's Shabda Praman. But even to understand Vedas also, you cannot understand Vedas by your own. You need the help of bona fide devotee. That's a spiritual master. That's what it says. That's Upanishad, sitting near the spiritual master.
Where are we?
We are just summarizing. The Krishna consciousness movement is, it says that it's completely based on Vedic principles, authorized Vedic principles, and then he talks about how Krishna is Supreme Person, his form is eternal, and it is all given in the Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Brahma Samhita. So And so he says that, and this Krishna you can understand by approaching a devotee, and devotee can deliver you. Here is Krishna, take it. He says like that. And so ordinary Vedas was one, then it was divided into four, then further more elaborated, by acharyas and great sages and devotees, disciples. Then so many came, Purana, Samhitas and everything came. And then so Mahabharata and all many things were written for the sake of people who are not so intelligent also. And but he says that and Upanishads are part of the Vedas, but then summary of all the Vedas is Vedanta Sutra, and that was elaborated as Srimad Bhagavatam by Vyasdev on the section of Narada Muni, like that. And this Vedanta Sutra is like a summary, short. So Bhagavatam is like an elaboration, and the commentaries, many Vaishnava commentaries are there. So one should not go for Sharika Bhasha, that is Mayavadi commentary. One should accept the Vedic commentary, the Vaishnava commentary, and that way we can understand fully. So Bhagavatam is actually natural commentary of Vedanta Sutra. That way we can understand very nicely what it is. And so that's why he says that finally the purpose is that 2 books you have to read to understand the entire Veda. What are the 2 Vedas? 2 books, Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. If you understand Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, you are able to understand the entire. I'll go to. I'll take it. So,
like half an hour away from
yeah. So if you
understand
understand Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, you are able to understand the entire Vedas, because all the Vedas summary is Vedanta Sutra, and Vedanta Sutra is elaborated as Srimad Bhagavatam. So if you understand Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, then you understand the entire through reflection.
Yeah, this is why exactly why I found it. Well, one thing you made was how Vedas are. You said everything in the Vedas are true. They shouldn't be challenged with, right? And you gave the cow dung example, right? Cow dung is pure, even though if you touch, even though you touch stool, you're supposed to pick up out, but it is also proved by the Calcutta scientists.
Vedic instruction should be accepted. You cannot. It's beyond logic. Beyond logic. And in the beginning also we discussed Karma Kanda section of the Vedas.
Vedas.
And eventually, when the Upanishads is the beginning to a spiritual life, and then it culminates into Srimad Bhagavatam, the essence of all the Vedas. Yes, Ajit Goenka, you want to share any point?
So probably one point which I liked was like, how in this introduction it was mentioned, what is the qualification of the spiritual master? Like he's the one who has rightly heard from the right source, like the Guru Parampara, and has his faith firmly established in the Brahman.
Yes, the two qualifications firmly established also. Because sometimes people may have knowledge, but they don't have a lifestyle of devotional service. They may not be chanting, they may not be rendering devotional service. So that is the problem. So that's why you should have heard, and also you should be established in Brahman. You should be having practical realization of what knowledge he has. Yes, Prabhu. And you want to share any point?
Like getting knowledge of Supreme through Smriti and Shruti by sitting near a spiritual master or unspiritual master, Upanishad.
That is Upanishad. That is Upanishad.
No,
Upanishad is one of the books.
Yeah, through Shruti and Smriti. Like Isho means importance of Shruti and Smriti.
Isha means the Supreme Lord. Isha, Upanishad. So talking about the Supreme Lord. Any other point?
There are 3 types of prasthan. Shruti prasthan, Maya prasthan, Smriti prasthan.
Okay. So thank you. Scott, you want to say any point?
I guess I wasn't very long. I guess the Krishna has his own way of doing things, and you can't kind of manipulate it anyway, or you can't give him knowledge, all the knowledge he already has, and you just gotta seek it out. And
From Krishna.
yes, and then accepting guidance through Guru and devotee will make everything work better.
You have to simply receive knowledge from Krishna. Correct. Thank you.